Hello students, welcome to grade 10 chemistry class. In today's class you are going to learn about atomic structure, which is a basic chapter to learn about properties of elements and the behavior of the elements. Now let's get started. So the first question that arises when you are trying to know about atomic structure is, what is an atom? It is very familiar that atom is present in matter. And what is a matter means? Matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. So it states that matter is anything that takes up space. We know that matter can exist in three different forms: solid, liquid and gases, and it can occupy space. It also has mass, and all matter is made of atoms. Atoms are building blocks of matter, like a sort of bricks that are useful for building the houses. So how the bricks are like building blocks of a house, the same way atom is a building block of matter. The scientists then, when they were started studying about structure of an atom, Greek philosopher Democritus, he was the first person to suggest for the existence of atom. He named the word atom from the Greek word atomos. He believed that atoms were indivisible particles and they are indestructible. So he believed that atoms is a smallest particle which is indivisible and it is indestructible also. It cannot be destructed. His ideas did agree with later scientific theory, but didn't explain chemical behavior and was not based on the scientific method. It was just philosophy. So this Democritus idea, that is atom is an indivisible particle and indestructible particle, was agreed by later scientists and their scientific theory also, but it could not explain the chemical behavior of atom, since it was not based on scientific method. It was just philosophical method. This had led to the scientific study of atom. So John Dalton was the next person who had stated the concepts related to atom basing on his experiment, and his theory is known as Dalton's atomic theory. And according to this theory, all elements are composed of tiny indivisible particles called atoms. So he proposed that elements are composed of tiny indivisible particles. He also agreed with the theory of Democritus that atom is the indivisible particle and it is the tiny particle, and it is made up of atoms of the same element are identical. He proved that atoms of the same element, whenever you take any element, it may be magnesium, sodium, hydrogen, oxygen, anything, any element. When you take any element, atoms of the same element are identical, and atoms of any one element are different from those of any other element. So he proved that atoms of one element are different from the atoms of other element, which means that the atoms of sodium are different from the atoms of magnesium. Similarly, the atoms of hydrogen are different from the atoms of oxygen. Now let's see the next point. Atoms of different elements combine in simple whole number ratios to form chemical compounds. He proved that atoms of different elements combine in simple whole number ratio. He proved that atoms of different elements can combine. Atoms of same element are same, and atoms of different element, like different elements, can combine in a simple whole number ratio and they form a compound which is known as a chemical compound. For example, atom of hydrogen and atoms of oxygen can combine and form a new chemical compound which is known as water molecule. So in chemical reaction, atoms are combined, separated or rearranged. So whenever a chemical reaction is taking place, atoms can combine together, or they can be separated, or they can be rearranged. But never changed into atoms of another element. This means that, for example, when you take combination of hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen molecule is made up of two atoms of hydrogen. Oxygen molecule is made up of two atoms of oxygen. So when these two molecules are combining, a new compound, water molecule H2O, is formed. So when it is combining, when these two molecules are combining, a chemical reaction is taking place. They are combined. And what does it mean? They are separated. Here, one oxygen atom is separated from oxygen molecule. Chemically, when we say H2O, so one oxygen atom is combining with two atoms of hydrogen. So it is rearranged with hydrogen and forms a compound. But the atom of oxygen never convert to hydrogen. So I repeat this point. In chemical reactions, atoms are combined, separated or rearranged, but never changed into atoms of another element. I repeat the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. All elements are composed of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms, and these atoms of the same element are identical. Atoms of elements are different from those of any other elements. Atoms of different elements combine in simple whole number ratios to form chemical compounds. In chemical reactions, atoms are combined, separated or rearranged, but never changed into atoms of another element. So are you noting down the points here? Atoms are composed of tiny indivisible particles called atoms, and atoms of same element are identical, and they are different from the atoms of other element. Atoms of different elements can also combine, and when they combine, it is forming a new chemical compound. And in this combination, when they are combining, we say that chemical reaction is taking place. And in a chemical reaction, atoms are combined, separated or rearranged, but they never change into atoms of another element. Okay, are you clear? Have you noted down? Next one. So this led to inquisitiveness to the presence of or the study of atom. What does this atom made up of? This was cleared and clarified by Thomson, J.J. Thomson. And he proposed an atomic model which is known as Thomson's atomic model, plum pudding model or watermelon model. What it is, let's see. Thomson believed that the electrons were like plums embedded in a positively charged pudding, thus it was called plum pudding model. So here he believed that electrons were like plums. Electrons were present in an atom like plums embedded in a pudding. The same way, electrons were also embedded in an atom. Hence, this model is known as plum pudding model. He also stated in another way, like the seeds in a watermelon, how they are arranged in concentric circles. The same way, electrons are also arranged in the atom in concentric circles. Hence, this model is known as plum pudding model or watermelon model. Now, he has led to the presence of an electron. So J.J. Thomson had discovered the presence of electron in an atom using cathode ray tube. So in the year 1897, J.J. Thomson used cathode ray tube to deduce the presence of negatively charged particle, that is electron. What is this cathode ray tube? So this is a cathode ray tube which contains cathode in it, and anode is at the other end of the cathode tube. So here cathode rays are released from cathode at high voltage. So to release cathode rays, high voltage is maintained and vacuum is maintained using the vacuum pump. So here when vacuum is created in the cathode ray tube, cathode starts emitting cathode rays through this slit. So here when the cathode ray starts emitting, it was observed that these rays are moving towards anode, which is positively charged. So here this led to a conclusion that when these rays are moving towards positively charged anode, when they are getting attracted towards anode, which is positively charged, it had cleared the concept that the cathode rays are negatively charged and it is known as electron. The negatively charged particles are known as electrons. So the discovery of electron was done by J.J. Thomson using cathode ray tube in the year 1890. The fact that presence of electron has become more inquisitive for the scientists then, because they know that atom is electrically neutral, but it contains negatively charged particle electron. This has led to know about the presence of the other particles in the atom. So Ernest Rutherford is a scientist who has conducted the experiment which is known as gold foil experiment. He conducted this experiment in the year 1911. So what he has taken is, in this experiment he has taken helium nuclei which can release alpha particle. So he made the alpha particles to release here and they are arranged to strike or to hit the gold foil, and hence this experiment is known as gold foil experiment. So here when he has experimented with the alpha particles hitting the gold foil, he observed that these alpha particles which are hitting the gold foil are moving away from the gold foil, and he has recorded all the particles that are moving away from the gold foil. Now let's see the observations. What he has observed is most of the particles passed right through the gold foil. He has observed that most of the particles are passing right through the atom, which means that atom is here, the atom is empty space due to which all the particles are passing through it. And he has observed that a few particles were deflected. He observed that few particles are getting deflected. Why they are getting deflected is there must be some charged particle which is deviating the path of these alpha particles. And he has also observed that very few were greatly deflected. Few particles were deflected and very few were greatly deflected. So the conclusions from this Rutherford's gold foil experiment is, he has observed that the nucleus is small in size because all the alpha particles are passing through the smaller region. So it is proving that there is some charged particle which is present in the center of the atom. So which proved that it is nucleus and the nucleus is smaller in size. It was proved that the nucleus is dense in mass and it is positively charged particle since few particles and very few were deflecting also. The other observations based on his experiments were the atom is mostly empty space and all the positive charge and almost all the mass is concentrated in a small area in the center, and hence this smaller area is named as nucleus. The nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. Why he came to conclusion that atom nucleus is made up of protons is, it is deviating the path of alpha particles which is positively charged. So it is made up of protons which are positively charged. The electrons distributed around the nucleus and occupy most of the volume. This model was called as nuclear model. He has observed that the electrons are moving around the nucleus and the protons, positively charged particles, are present in the nucleus, like sun in the center and the planets around the sun. Hence, this model is known as nuclear model or planetary model. You can observe in the slide that this is the solar system in which sun is at the center and the planets around the sun. The same way, in the Rutherford's atomic model, nucleus is in the center which is positively charged and electrons that are negatively charged are moving around the around the nucleus, and hence this model is known as planetary model of atom. So the conclusions that had revealed from the study of electron, the conclusions that were revealed from the study of electron are: the first point, cathode rays have identical properties regardless of the element used to produce them. It was proved that cathode rays have identical properties regardless with regard to any element. Whatever element is taken, it contains or it produces identical particles and it possesses identical properties. All elements must contain identically charged electrons. It was proved that all the elements contain identically charged electrons. Wherever electron is present in any atom, it is identical in charge, that is negative in charge. Atoms are neutral, so there must be positively charged particles in the atom to balance the negative charge of the electron. It was concluded that atom is neutral. So when the electrons are present in it, there must be positive charged particles to balance the negative charge. And the next point is, electrons have so little mass that atoms must contain other particles that accounts for most of the mass. So here it was observed that mass of the electrons is very little. Experimental observations has given the mass of electron is very little, but the mass of the atom is not equal to it, which means that it contains the other particles that is accounting for the most of the mass. The next, the presence of proton was invented by Agan Goldstein in the year 1886. He observed that protons are present in the nucleus and they are positively charged particle with a relative mass of 1 unit or 1840 times the mass of the electron. Then next, in the year 1932, James Chadwick confirmed the existence of neutron. So neutron was invented by James Chadwick in the year 1932, and these neutrons are particles without any charge in them. They do not possess any charge, but the mass of them is equal to the mass of proton. So remember that the mass of neutron is equal to mass of proton, and the mass of proton is equal to 1840 times of mass of electron. So what are the changes from Dalton's theory or the transformations from Dalton's theory to this Rutherford's model? Is one change, that is Dalton's theory states that atom is indivisible, but later on it was proved that atoms are divisible into subatomic particles as electrons, protons and neutrons. And the mass of the electron was first observed by scientist Robert Millikan in the year 1916 with oil drop apparatus, and he has observed that the mass of electron is equal to 9.11 into 10 to the power of minus 28 grams. And in other way, it is equal to the mass of electron is equal to 1 by 1840 times the mass of the hydrogen atom. We have learned that the mass of proton is 1840 times of electron. So the mass of electron is equal to 1 by 1840 times the mass of proton, that is hydrogen atom. And its charge is 1 unit, negative charge. So here is the list of the subatomic particles, main subatomic particles with their charge, mass and their location. The first subatomic particle observed was electron, which is negative in charge, -1, and its mass is equal to 9.11 into 10 to the power of minus 28. Then protons are positively charged, +1, and its mass is equal to 1.67 into 10 to the power of minus 24. Then next is neutron, which is neutral in charge, 0, and the mass of it is equal to the mass of proton, that is 1.67 into 10 to the power of minus 24. Now, their locations. Location of electron is in electron cloud. What is this electron cloud means? It is the region or the space around nucleus where the possibility of finding an electron can be, it can also be called as atomic orbital. So here electrons are present in the electron cloud, that is away from the nucleus or around the nucleus. Whereas protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus, and since they are present in the nucleus, these together, proton and neutron together, they are known as nucleons. So what are nucleons means? Protons and neutrons together are nucleons and they are present in the nucleus, whereas electrons are present in the electron cloud and they move around the nucleus. Now, summing up, what is the structure of an atom is? Atom is the smallest particle which contains nucleus at its center, and it is a home of protons and neutrons. Nucleus is the center of the atom and this nucleus is the home of protons and neutrons, and nucleus is positive in charge. Then next is about proton. Proton has a relative mass of 1 unit which is positively charged and it determines the atomic number, and it is found inside the nucleus. Proton can be found inside the nucleus. The next is neutron. Neutron has no charge. It has a relative mass of 1 unit and it can be found inside the nucleus. Where can we find neutron? In the nucleus, and the charge of it is 0, but its relative mass is equal to 1 unit and it is represented by the letter N, whereas protons with the letter P, neutrons N. The next is electron. Electron is negative charge particle and it can be found outside the nucleus, which was proved by Rutherford's atomic model and Bohr's model. Bohr's model has proved that electrons are in specific energy levels called shells. Rutherford model has proved that electrons are around the nucleus. So here Rutherford model proves that electrons are present around the nucleus. It can be anywhere around the nucleus. But Bohr's model has specified that these electrons are moving in specific energy levels and these energy levels are called as shells. You will be learning more about Bohr's atomic model in further classes of atomic structure. And this electron is represented by the letter E. It was known that the atomic number or the presence of number of electrons credible to the number of atomic number of an atom. What it is, let's see. Atoms are composed of identical protons, neutrons and electrons. Atoms are made up of identical protons, neutrons and electrons. Then how then are the atoms of one element different from another element? When these subatomic particles are identical, then what's the reason for the different behavior of elements? That is, elements are different because they contain different numbers of protons. Why the elements are different from one to the other is due to the different number of protons present in them. And the number of protons present in an atom is equal to its atomic number. The atomic number of an element is equal to the number of protons in the nucleus. Note down this point. The atomic number of an element is equal to number of protons in the nucleus. And it was also proved that the number of protons in an atom is equal to number of electrons. Remember that the number of protons in an atom is equal to number of electrons, and this number is equal to atomic number. Then how are these P and E related? That is, protons, neutrons and electrons, how they are related. Let's see. The number of protons are equal to number of electrons, and the number of protons in an atom is equal to its atomic number, which means that the atomic number of an atom or an element is equal to number of protons or number of electrons present in it. Then next is the relation between protons and neutrons. The sum of number of protons and neutrons is equal to its mass number. And the number of neutrons present in an atom can be calculated using the above formula. That is, number of neutrons is equal to mass number minus number of protons, which is equal to atomic number. We know that number of protons are equal to atomic number of an atom. So, number of neutrons is equal to mass number minus atomic number. This last equation gives the relation between mass number and atomic number. So all these four relations, four equations are important. Note down this: the number of protons is equal to number of electrons. Number of protons are equal to atomic number of an element, and number of protons plus number of neutrons or sum of protons and neutrons is equal to the mass number. Then next, the difference between mass number and atomic number gives the number of neutrons. Okay, are you clear? Then next, how can we represent an atom when we know its atomic number and mass number? For example, X is an element. The symbol of an element is X, and atomic number of an element is represented with the letter Z, and the mass number is denoted by the letter A. Then the representation of an atom of any element can be represented as X, A, Z. That is, X is the symbol of the element and Z is the atomic number and A is its mass number. And how are you going to read this is X, Z, A. You have to read the atomic number first and then mass number. For example, here X is the element and Z is its atomic number. A is the mass number. So it is represented as XZA. Though we read Z first, it is written at the suffix. For example, if you are trying to represent hydrogen atom, the atomic number of hydrogen is 1 and its mass number is 1. The symbol of hydrogen is H. So it is represented as H11 because atomic number is 1 and mass number is also 1. The same way, helium, whose chemical symbol is He and atomic number is 2, mass number 4, is represented as He24. The same way, oxygen, O816. So in this way, we can represent an atom with its symbol, atomic number and mass number. So till here, you have learnt about the different atomic models, which has given us an idea about the structure of an atom. And in the next class, you are going to learn about the reason for the difference in the properties of elements and the reason for the combination of different elements in a chemical reaction. Thank you.